I'm Christopher Dunnigan. This is HandmadeInVermont.com, and today we're talking about the Hubbardton Forge 4-Light Summit Lantern. This is going to be the 132043. Before we get into the size of the fixture and overall heights, let's touch on glass really quick, because you're going to see there's a pull-down menu that says choose your glass. So the inner parts of this are going to have tubes, and the tubes are going to go over your sockets and make sure that you don't see a bulb, and that's always going to be an opal. And opal is basically just a, well, not just, Hubbardton Forge's opal is really a hand-blown white glass that's done in layers, and I'll talk about that later in the video. But that's always going to be those 4 pieces. The parts that are on the corners are going to give you the option, and it says choose your glass. It's really going to be for those square corner pieces that are going to give the option. One of them is going to be crystal clear, so you're going to be able to see those tubes inside, which is very nice. The other option is going to be a frosted glass, and that's going to hide everything inside. So it's really up to you, and it really changes the look of the piece. So just kind of keep that in mind. Very interesting stuff. Now let's talk about the size of this fixture. Now we're going to talk about the body of the fixture, and that's coming in at 30.9 inches high, just around 31 inches, independent of what's going on as far as these go. This is basically 4 lights, so it almost has a diameter going on to it, but it's going to be 22.6 by 22.6, and that's going to be length and width. Now, when we talk about overall height, we're talking about the distance from the bottom of the fixture to the very ceiling itself, and it's going to be using the rods as well. So you're going to have a pretty good range on this, 35.2 to 80.2 as standard product with the rods that are going to come with it automatically. But this is going to ship with 20 feet of wire, and we know the fixture body itself is just about 31 inches, so that's going to give you a pretty good range if you just needed to order some extra kits. So we know that what's going to come with it is going to be 3 of the 12s, 1 of the 6, 1 of the 3. However, the kits, if you order them separately, are going to have 1 of the 12, 1 of the 6, 1 of the 3. So the best thing to do would be emailing me and tell me the overall height you're trying to achieve, so we can try to get as close to it as possible by just ordering some extra pipes in kits. It's very simple. Okay, why don't we talk about a couple other quick things. The canopy up in the ceiling is going to be a 7-inch square. It's going to go over your 4-inch junction box. This is what you guys have in your ceiling. This is coming in at 55 pounds. I think that's important to tell your installer about that, so they use the correct J-box in the ceiling, and just forewarn them that that's what is going on with this. Now, when we talk about also these overall heights, I want to show you some more information about that and the canopy and all this kind of stuff. And a good way to do it is to look at those installations instructions. It's nice to have photographs of this thing, but it's also nice to be able to see kind of inside and see what's going on. And a good way to do it, install sheets. So if you're on the page for this on Handmade in Vermont, look over that side of the screen midway down. You're going to see a link. It's going to say click here for installations instructions PDF. So open that up for me. It's going to show you a full parts list of all the parts you're going to get, but it's also going to show you some good line drawings and schematic drawings of the canopy, how it goes over your junction box, the placement of those glass tubes on the inside, how all that works. It's just a good reference of how to look at this from different angles. So take advantage of that. A couple other things about that. This is slope ceiling adaptable already to 45 degrees. There's a knuckle that's going to be built at the top of the pipe at the top and the canopy, and that's going to make this slope ceiling adaptable already. So you don't have to do anything special to get up to your 45. On that install sheet, there's going to be a chart. You're going to notice that chart has a lot of numbers on it. Those numbers are overall heights that you can achieve from using different combinations of these, and it's going to list what those combos are. So again, take advantage of that. We generally have it on the page for this on Handmade in Vermont, in addition to having them on the install sheet. So that'll be there for you too. Okay, so if I'm going to be putting this together, I'm not putting my glass on until the very end, after it's all installed up. I'm going to put a blanket down on a table. I'm going to put my piece on that has the sockets at one end. I'm going to figure out from that chart the overall height I'm trying to achieve and what pipes I'm going to need, and I'm going to just lay them out in a line. So you're going to have, like I said before, you can have these pipes. This is a 12 and has threading on the insides of both sides, and I'm just going to put my wires through those little parts one by one. So I'm going to go through a connector, through a pipe, through a connector, through a pipe, and then after that I'm just going to screw them together. It just takes 2 seconds to do it. The milling and the engineering on these things is so wildly good. It's incredibly precise, so you barely even see a line once it's up. It's a really great thing to do. And then you're going to put it up and turn it on. And you're going to put your glass on too at the very end, and that's what you'll do there. we need to talk about lamping on this because there's a lot going on as far as what you can use for bulbs. It's just using a medium base socket, and that's just a good old-fashioned socket that takes this screw-in bulb. We all grew up with this. If you want to go for incandescent, you can still do that. 100 watts you can use in each of these lights, each of these sockets all the way around. Most of you are not going to do that. Most of you are going to go for LED. And I have a pretty strong preference on the LEDs I would put into this, just because I'm used to this fixture and those glass tubes and what looks the best inside them as far as the light coming out and how to get that. So to begin with, this is kind of an old school LED, and I would not use this. And the reason why is because these generally shoot light in one direction. So you'd have light going up and a more like darkness going down. What I want instead is a phosphorus LED. So this is an A19, that's a standard size light bulb you can put into this. This is a T bulb, this is a T8, kind of like a hot dog basically. And they also come in T10s, which are a little longer. So these guys, the A19, and they're phosphorus ones, they're just clear. You can find these everywhere. You can find them at a dollar store, your drugstore, Ace Hardware, Home Depot, Amazon, every place you walk into. All that said, so the nice thing about these is they throw light in every direction. You just don't have this hot spot at the top and a cold spot at the bottom. It's going to be nice and uniform all the way through as far as the light coming out of these. This A19 I can find easily in a 40 watt equivalent, 60 watt equivalent, 75 watt equivalent. I also have found these in 100 watt equivalent without a problem. These T8s, I can find these in 60 watt equivalent quite easily because these are also used in exit signs all around America. But the longer version of this, a T10, I could find a little more than that, probably a 75 watt to 100 watt equivalent if I need to. And honestly, the best place to find these is on Amazon. The reason I kind of like this is it actually draws the light output, the lumen output, higher up in those tubes. And your only limitation is, can I get this bulb in the tube? So the tubes are pretty tall, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. You might want to just play around with T10s and T8s and see what you think. But if you don't want to do that, you can just pick one of these guys up at your local store. Okay, the color of the light coming out of those bulbs is always going to be offered to you in different types. I talk about it all the time. 2700 Kelvin, super yellow like a setting sun. They're going to offer these to you in something called daylight. That's kind of a bluish white hospital waiting room overcast day, 4000, 5000 Kelvin on that Kelvin scale. It's not my big preference. I tend to like what's called warm white, soft white. That's 3000 Kelvin. The light coming down on this desk right now is from 3000 Kelvin warm white, soft white LEDs. And these just basically mimic an incandescent bulb. It's the same nice warmth. That's what I think would be nice coming out of this. So there you go. The other very important thing about this, make sure it's a dimmable fixture without any problem. Make sure you buy dimmable bulbs when you're out there. Let's get into metal finishes now. If you are on the HandmadeInVermont.com website, look over in the red tabs with the pictures in them over there. You're going to see a Finishes Help Guide tab. Open that up for me. It's going to be a video there of me talking to you guys about the differences in Hubbardton forged finishes, how they can look on different types of forging. I'm going to be referencing a chart just down below. So scroll down a little bit. You're going to see a chart. You can click on that chart. So you can click on dark smoke. You can click on soft gold. Doesn't matter. Big page will pop up showing you lots of different things in that finish. You can go back to the chart and you'll notice there's letters A's on them, letter B's on some of those things, and that's going to be showing you this range of variants that you can expect to see on different translucent finishes, but I'll talk about all of that in the video, okay? Okay, showroom. Our showroom in Vermont has over 400 Hubbardton Forge fixtures. This is the biggest showroom in the world of Hubbardton Forge. No other showroom is like this. Hubbardton Forge doesn't even have their own showroom. They use this one. What's on display? We have a great tab on that. And those same red tabs, you're going to see a what's on display page. So open that up. It's going to show you everything we have on display, and including which finish, which shade, all of those things, and what kind of glass it's on there. We're open every day except Sunday, 11 to 6. I'm here every day except Sunday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We also have an amazing clearance center. Clearance center stuff is 75% off MSRP. It's returns, discontinued stuff, showroom samples. You have to come here to use it. Can't call us or email us about it, but it's definitely worth coming in to look at if you're in Vermont. Plus you want to use the showroom anyway because there's just so much great stuff here to see. Our number in Vermont, 802-446-2400. You can email us 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Love to answer emails, and it's sales@HandmadeInVermont.com. So when you order from HandmadeInVermont.com, shipping is going to be free to every state except Alaska and Hawaii. No tax if we ship out of the state of Vermont. And we're the only dealer with 90-day returns, no restocking fee. Nobody else does that. Some larger items are going to be non-returnable. It's going to be really important that you are looking at the fixture on that page and kind of scroll down under the description. It'll tell you if that is the case. And that's usually for really big, giant, huge fixtures, mostly that go out on pallets. Okay, that's it. Rush program. Let's talk about that. So rush program, Hubbardton Forge generally takes about 3 to 4 weeks to go out the door. That's production time before your transit time. You always have to add that on too. We offer a rush program that takes you from that 3 to 4 weeks down to a little under 2 weeks. It's a very small addition per line item. So if you have like 1, 2, 3 items, like let's say 3 or 4 outdoor sconces, and they're all the same size and they're all the same finish, that's one line item. So it's very inexpensive to rush those kind of things. Don't be afraid to email us and ask about that. Okay, so that's really it. If you guys have any other questions, let us know. We would love to see you in our showroom sometime. And thanks for stopping in.